most important keys to success are number one is focus, and number two is passion. As the star of the play The King and I, Yul Brenner portrayed the king on stage a whopping 4,625 times. He was known to rehearse his lines before every performance multiple times. He realized that though he had performed that play thousands of times, for many in his audience, it would be their very first. Remember, we sell one customer, then we sell to one customer. It's easy to lump them all in one bucket because of our broad perspective of speaking to so many people. But that's not how sales works. We sell one customer at a time. Customer service as well is about the happiness of one customer at a time. Hall of Famer wide receiver Jerry Rice was notorious for having a more rigorous training schedule during the off season than one during the on season. Why do these professionals rehearse so much when they're able to do it in their sleep without thinking? Because they want to be at the top of their game every day, every single individual performance. Going back to one of many salesperson's concerns on how many leads will I get or how many appointments will I get, when I was the only salesperson in the company, I would know what number of calls that I would need to make. For example, during 8 hours, I know that I can make at least 50 calls, and that's my goal. By clear focus, the goal is going to be 50 phone calls. I can control that. At this point, we say this is my job to make 50 phone calls each day. No pressure. All I have to do is make 50 phone calls. I'm not going to be concerned if they answer, if they're going to be a buyer, or if they're qualified. I just need to make 50 calls, and when I do talk to someone, I'm prepared to give my very best performance. And that's one call about every 10 minutes. Some calls will last 30 seconds, some will last 30 minutes or more. I think everyone in sales here can average one call every 10 minutes. And it's that simple. So how many calls will you make? What's your goal every single day? And make sure to keep track of them, write them down, and keep track of how many calls you made. Now, know what you're going to say. Have a bullet point for each type of caller, each type of need. Prepare, practice, then perform with all the joy, charm, and enthusiasm and caring in your voice that you can. So focus on your goal. Focus on what it's going to take to hit your goal. Know the number of calls you likely need to make to achieve it. And number two is passion. I had a gentleman who worked for us in the alarm business. His entire approach was to talk to every person as if he or she was a family member. Each sales presentation he saw as an award-winning performance. He wasn't any more or less talented, skilled, or trained than any other salesperson, but the defining difference in his success was that he didn't prejudge anyone. He approached everyone as if it was a sale. Taking that approach, he captured every opportunity that came by. My first professional sales presentation after I got out of school, the number one thing the boss said is don't prejudge. Treat every customer with respect and enthusiasm. And I was selling fire alarms. I drove up to the first house and it was in the ghetto. I mean, it was really a slum, and I was nervous. I started to have doubts about their ability to afford it. And it took one drive around the block one more time just to get my head on straight and repeat in my mind what the sales trainer had told me. Don't prejudge. Make every performance your best. The people were not too bright. They kept asking me the same questions over and over again. Some people would have gotten frustrated, but I kept patient and I simply answered their questions again and again. I wanted to give my best performance to these people, and at the end of the presentation, I learned two things. Number one, first, they had just had a fire in their house. And number two, the lady had just inherited a big pile of money from her mother. So by keeping positive and getting my head right before the performance, I made the biggest sale of anyone in the company that night. And then I went on to win the World Sales Champion Award by selling more than anyone that worldwide multi-office organization had sold in the entire planet. So before every presentation, get your head right. Get into a positive mindset regardless of what happened on the last call or how many times that customer asks you the same dumb question over and over again. Just simply answer patiently, kindly, from the heart, and make it real. Not just a show, but make it really from the heart, like you really, really care about that person like a family member. Remember, that customer only knows what they see and hear from you, not from what the other calls may have resulted in. Rehearse what you're going to say depending on the need. Have a list of bullet points and perform knowing this is the first time that customer has likely heard what you're telling them, and give every customer the chance to see your best performance. So make focus and passion your lifestyle, and you will likely see a big difference on payday.